few months back, we were on the doorstep of Fraser Island, and not really even intending on visiting. That was until the unthinkable happened. A 3-day weather window of sunshine and glass off days opens up for us, so we grabbed our swag and headed north, prepared for a 3-day bull run of this massive sand island, a natural wonder and a 4-wheel drive camping paradise. We weren't going to film a normal episode, and to tell you the truth, this footage was never even meant to see the light of day, but here we are. A few weeks ago I grabbed a few clips from this folder and I thought this was too good not to share. So come with us in this bonus episode as we share the unreal vistas of Fraser Island. We hit all aspects from east to west and even the northern tip, experiencing sunrises and sunsets under canvas, the salt in the air and the magic of this epic destination at its absolute best. Well, this is Inskip Point just outside of Rainbow Beach, and it's the southern gateway to Fraser Island. We took the Mantaray Barge over, which is a quick 10-minute journey across the channel. Fraser Island, baby. It does not get any better than this.
And we've got Timmy in tow.
Timmy's in tow. Christmas morning. This is better than Christmas morning.
Let's go.
There's always a good view from up here, and it's where we went to pay our toll, and we also managed to see some dolphins, which is always a good omen, I reckon, when heading over to Fraser. After cruising up the beach for a little bit, we used the Euron cutting to head inland towards Lake Mckenzie, and these inland tracks are just stunning. The rainforests and the freshwater lakes that are dotted throughout this island are simply stunning, and Lake Mckenzie would have to be up there with the best of them. Just check out that water. Complete mirror finish and the bluest freshwater you'll ever see. After our little pit stop at Lake Mckenzie, we were keen to find a camp before dark, and we cruised up the beach to see the planes and the dingoes. It wouldn't quite be Fraser Island without these two, and the pilots and all the helpers wearing their long white socks. It's quite funny. But anyway, we found a cool campsite, nice grassy spot, quite a rare grassy spot actually, and rigged up the rods ready for some fishing because we had heard that the tailor were on.
Are you kidding me? Yes, Tim!
Timmy was quick to put a few tailor on the board, and we enjoyed this beautiful sunset. Look at the hues in the sky and the Maheno wreck. And I feel like within the first few hours of being on the island, we're already having the full experience. Like I said earlier, this was going to be a bull run of Fraser Island, which meant early mornings to make the most of the day, and we saw our fair share of sunrises, and they were all bloody beautiful. One thing I love about Fraser Island is you move when the tide is low, so during the high tide you're just forced to slow down, sit and chill out a little bit, which is something we all need to do, I think, and some more than others. I know I've got pretty itchy feet and I'm always looking for the next thing or full of energy, so it's really nice to just have those little moments to just stop and slow down. This is a beautiful morning, watching the whales, watching the tailor fishermen pulling a bunch of fish. We had a bit of a flick, and before we knew it, we're rolling our swags up and headed north. Our plan was to get up to Sandy Cape, where we'd booked a campsite for the night, so we had a pretty decent run up the beach, and our major obstacle, which was Ngkala Rocks, which can be a pretty notorious crossing, but we found it to be quite easy with some low tide pressures and just cruising through. Now, it's not lost on us that this is probably some of the best weather you can experience up the northern tip. There was like no wind, the water was beautifully calm, and I reckon there's probably very few of these days per year that you get up here like this. We had to wait for the tide to drop out just a little bit so we could get around the sticks, and then we could find our way onto the campsite. We'd barely got on the site and set up when someone come past looking for help, and there was a pretty unfortunate beaching of a whale, so we tried to help out where we could. And if seeing animals in distress is not your cup of tea, or if you have kids that are sensitive to this sort of stuff, I advise you skip forward. So we hosed this poor little guy down for a few hours, and the tide just kept dropping out. We tried our best to help it out, but after talking to the rangers, there's not really much you can do. You just have to sort of let nature take its course. Distressing as it is to see, it's just a fact of life, and this little guy couldn't make it out of the bay at Hervey Bay. He probably didn't have much hope of making it all the way back down to Antarctica, unfortunately. So a pretty somber afternoon for us, but we enjoyed a sunset over the ocean, and this part of Fraser, geez, we just wish we had a little bit more time because it was spectacular, and we didn't really get to do the fishing that we wanted to do up there after the whole whale incident. But anyway, the next morning we were packed up nice and early, ready to head to the west coast. We'd never been to the west coast, and we were very excited for it, and boy did it blow us away. Good morning, Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Big beach girl.
Off submerging vehicles. No thanks.
Ooh, it looks good. We're just gonna have to wait for the tide to go out a little bit though, I think. So we're gonna go down through there. Just gotta wait for the tide to go out a bit. It looks like it's all salt. We walked across the Awinya Creek and it was very evident that it was pretty much 100% salt water and it was up to our waists, but we let a few hours pass and the water come right down to about 100 millimeters and it barely come up the sidewall of our tyre, which was a good move, just waiting it out and not exposing our forward drives to all that salt water. But how about this for a campsite set up right on the white sand beaches? It feels like a scene out of Western Australia with that blue water, and we were feeling right at home here. Well, the population of whales that visits Hervey Bay every year is just astonishing and they are multiplying like crazy, so you can't go very long without seeing a whale out in the bay. And this was a really special spot. They come in so close to shore here. After the animal encounter earlier in the video, which would have to be one of our worst, we ended up having one of the best encounters with these beautiful gentle giants out here. Out here in the bay this morning, we're about 2 kilometres from camp and these whales just hanging out. Like, this is bucket list stuff right here. We're out here on a paddleboard. How sick is that? See how this camp quickly become one of our favourites in the whole of our Australia trip. 2.5 years travelling around this country. Who would have known this little gem was only a few hours from home, and we loved it so much that we had to squeeze in an extra day. With the forecast looking mint, we just couldn't leave this place. I mean, look at it. So another day was spent lounging on the beach, some cook-ups, some more whale encounters, and it was just the best. Ngkala. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Upside down paddle flat. Look at that guy. Oh my god.
This is amazing. Oh, wow.
That's the car. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, he's learning. after an epic few days here, we were up at the crack of dawn and ready to head off the island. It was a very sad day, especially waking up to a morning like this. We actually ran down to the beach, so there's a few different ways to get into Awinya, and this is the alternative route. You can go through the bush or you can go along the beach if it's low tide. So we had a nice run up the beach and back through the bush before hitting Eli Creek on the way home. I think that just goes without saying. You can't go to Fraser without going for a dip at Eli Creek. I just can't believe our luck with the weather here. Like, another morning that is just still and beautiful, no wind, low swell, and just perfect conditions. We had a nice little freshen up at Eli Creek before making our final punch down south to the barge. We had a pretty quick run down to the barge, just getting around the point before the high tide come in. I tell you what, if we were maybe half an hour later, we would have been in some serious trouble with the tides there.
Double bogging.
Anyway, we reluctantly stepped off the island back onto the barge and we're ready for our next adventure. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was definitely something different compared to our usual content, but I think you'd agree with me in saying that there were some pretty special scenes in this video. So anyway, we appreciate your support and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.